Thank you for participating the Toyota Foundation International Grant Program Online Luncheon Seminar 2021, Ethics and Logics of International Collaborative Projects. The second session of our fourth series today is titled How to Create Project Environments. I'm sure everyone wants to know more about creating environment for a project, so I hope to get some ideas for that today. Since the pandemic, we are challenged in many ways, such as maintaining social distance has been a negative impact for us. So I hope to hear how today's speakers are overcoming these difficulties. Cash cropping regions are subject to a variety of risks, including climate change, pest, disease impacts, and fluctuations in international market prices. In such areas, agricultural sustainability is an extremely important goal. Our aim was to set up a program where young farmers that our affiliate company ATJ and our organization APLA had connection with, so that they could interact with each other. Specifically, we worked in 3 places: Bolaven Plateau in Laos, Negros in the Philippines, and East Timor, as shown on the map on the right. In these 3 locations, the goal was for the residents themselves to review the value of their local ecosystem diversity and natural resources to practice sustainable agriculture, and finally, to develop farmer leaders who can pass on these practices to the next generation. What was important here was the fact that participants learned skills and knowledge from each other. But at the same time, what was important was that they realized the value that exists in their region by being seen from the external perspective. Farmers from the Philippines and East Timor joined farmers in Laos. We kept the participants to 3 to 4 from each country. Because if the number of participants are excessively large, the exchange itself becomes difficult, so the members were kept small in number, and the scheme was to tour around 3 countries, basically with the same members. I would like to briefly introduce 2 projects funded by the Toyota Foundation. The first one was conducted from 2017 to 2020, connecting Aceh, Indonesia, devastated by the Sumatra earthquake, and the areas affected by the Great East Japan earthquake, and participants visited the affected areas and community art projects respectively. The second project is currently underway, which was planned in succession on the first project. It is related to the increasing number of technical interns in Japan. The reality is that there is a huge barrier between interns and the Japanese society. The first thing to do is to have people understand that trainees are not just the labor force, but are actually human beings just like us, with parents and families who wish them well. Furthermore, this project aimed to help the interns and the local community to work together beyond the barriers. What kind of opportunity has been created between Indonesia and Japan through these various projects and practices? I think we created an interactive place where people of different cultures and religions can recognize each other's positions and viewpoints and engage in dialogue. A place where people can think from the other person's perspective and recognize each other's attitude. And a place where people can recognize each other's changes through exchanging their views. It was a place to create something through collaboration. One thing I would like to think through my future activities is that by using Zoom and Skype to talk remotely while looking at your own self on the screen, or while checking the reactions of multiple people at a glance, perception of oneself, including myself, and the nature of a relationship may be starting to change. I believe such feeling can lead to a more multi-layered exchange of positions and perspectives on a different level. I would like to think about that in a remote environment through my practice. We placed emphasis on a bottom-up approach. People of different ages, genders, positions, religions, and so on took part, but we felt they brought in human relationships and power balance that existed before the project. We tried to draw out their unspoken thoughts and ideas and to connect them with their interests, awareness, and autonomy by intervening well. All the facilitators involved focused on creativity and what happened by chance. Because it was difficult to set a so-called achievement goal for the project, we valued process more than the outcome. The question was how flexible can we respond to things happening unexpectedly? I happened to be sitting near this pond during recess, and Michael was there. It occurred to me that I should ask him to share his story, so I started to listen to him, though I did not go as far as interviewing him. The villagers farewelled the younger farmers from the Philippines, Laos, and East Timor when they were leaving their village. After that, I heard they discussed late into the night about how Michael was able to support his family through his cyclical agriculture, although he had only attended to the second grade of elementary school, and what was different about him and why they could not do the same. This really is one of the episodes in the project. These things don't happen when we intend them to. As a facilitator, I spent a year being very conscious of how to pick up small seeds that happen by chance and whether they can be shared and verbalized by the whole group. Both teams share their focus on unplanned incidents happening by chance, grasping such event and flexibly incorporating that into the program. Listening to the speakers, I thought it requires quite a willpower and guts. It is quite difficult to read the context with people with different backgrounds, cultures, and languages. To that, since Japan is a homogeneous and high context culture, such things might have not been focused among Japanese. Since this was an international collaboration, participants were conscious in looking into the context. What is important in an exchange is how you are changed by interacting with other people. The self-transformation that I refer to is breaking one's own unspoken assumptions, changing one's way of looking at things, and at the same time allowing one to look at the society in which we live in from a different perspective. I think facilitators needs to function together with the evolving placemaking, when facilitators become aware and ask questions, something becomes apparent to the people involved, and this will be built into the updated platform. One of the things that particularly impressed me was that the children were able to learn from the video that they felt the same as the Indonesian children, even though they were of different nationalities, or that they felt slightly similar but different, because before that I was wondering if they could learn from video through the screen. I believe that the meaning of cultural exchange is to have a sense of self-transformation, or to have a perspective of looking at oneself from a different angle, and I was able to see the process of children gaining things in their own way. We have prepared a variety of ways to encourage this. For example, we asked children to bring in food that is available in both Japan and Indonesia and enjoy eating together online, or we translated songs into Japanese and vice versa and have the children sing it together during that exchange. Many of the people in Aceh are devout Muslims, and their faith is in Islam. During the discussion, a Muslim commented that Japanese behavior is sometimes against the teachings of Islam, though not so in an offensive manner, and it did bring profound discussion. After that, the dialogue continued little by little, even after both people went home. After contemplation, they started to gain different ideas, which led them to realize that other person has his or her position, and that Muslims have their position that cannot be compromised. I thought it was good that they did not simply end the conversation. To summarize, both speakers mentioned that picking up unexpected event and incorporating it into the program is the role of facilitators. They also spoke that verbalizing and giving feedback could self-transform participants. Maybe verbalization is not only a task for the sake of facilitators, but perhaps they are tasked to support participants' verbalization too. Repeating such things carefully requires long time. In terms of ethics and logic of project supporters, such as the Toyota Foundation, I thought that it will not be an easy task unless there is a cycle of allowing and supporting unexpected things such as time frames and changes. This concludes today's seminar. Thank you very much for all the speakers and audience for your participation.